Story 1. I read something a little while back about an artificial intelligence escaping its lab and living on the internet and subtly manipulating things for the better as it learns about humanity. I would really like to see that idea expanded on. Story 2. Fed up with applications like Snapchat and Instagram showing you what you're missing out on. A young girl creates an application that shows all the good memories you don't remember. Mental health problems in the nation diminish significantly as a result. Story 3. Disease and aging are eliminated by science. The Earth becomes a giant nursery. Once people reach a certain level of maturity, they are sent to forge their destiny among the stars. The episode would be about the person left on Earth the longest and their journey to discover why. Story 4. Remember that episode of Futurama where Fry gets to go back and see his mom in her dream? That would definitely be the plot of one. Story 5. A daughter grows up video chatting with her dad, who rambles on and barely lets her get a word in edgewise, giving loving advice, accolades, and familial anecdotes, but who is absent at every major life event up to marriage and always apologizes. She is accompanied to the altar by her mother. Afterwards, the chat with her dad has him in tears because he regrets more than anything missing walking her down the aisle because he passed away while mom was pregnant. Story 6. A bedridden grandmother in the hospital is able to virtually attend her grandkids' birthday parties and play with them every day. My mother actually had a friend that we barely knew, but we accepted her Facebook friend request out of courtesy, and she absolutely gushes about seeing photos of our kids on Facebook. She sends them presents and cards. She knows what they like, and we've even started having Facebook calls with her. She's so warm and giving and gives them 100% of her attention, which is something parents just can't do as often as kids would like. They'll go running around the room holding the phone up to different things saying stuff like, "Ruth, it snowed. Look, my wife got nervous yesterday because they took the phone outside to play in the snow and were having so much fun throwing snowballs at the phone. I told her, screw it. If they break the phone doing something like that, I'll buy a new one. It's worth it. She's like part of our family, and it's all because technology initially allowed her to passively participate with us. The relationship grew organically over time the way relationships used to before the internet. You'd see people frequently at work or at the store or in your neighborhood, over time have longer conversations and ultimately grow to be friends. The same thing happened here. It started with a like or a comment here or there, then a couple of messages, then a virtual birthday card. It enables people to remain in communication with so many more people passively when used correctly. Our kids have never even met her physically, though. Her immune system is too delicate to accept visitors. But even through a 6-inch screen, it's like she's really here. I can only imagine what it will be like when virtual reality lets them really be together. Story 7. A small village in Africa, where America's digital waste is sent for processing, is home to a young woman who uses the scrap to build power generators, refrigerators, autoclaves, and ultrasonic cleaners for local medical clinics. Story 8. There's a thread on Reddit World News right now about a lifeguard team testing a new drone and actually using it to save a struggler 700 meters from shore. Story 9. Jazz musician living in New Orleans nearly drowns during Hurricane Katrina. He survives, but he suffers a horrible ear infection from the toxic floodwaters, which subsequently causes him to go deaf. Without music, the man falls into a great bout of depression and can hardly cope with life anymore. After nearly a decade of hopelessness and despair, the man drives to a nearby bridge with plans to jump and end it once and for all. On the way to the bridge, he gets a flat tire. A Good Samaritan stops and assists him with changing it. Turns out the Good Samaritan knows sign language. The two talk for a while, and the Good Samaritan invites him to the lab he works at, where he and a team of engineers are working on designing the first pair of bone conduction headphones. Using the musician as a test subject, they successfully perfect the headphones, and the musician hears the sweet sound of jazz for the first time in 10 years. His depression fades away, and the man becomes happier than he was before the incident. And if the happy ending doesn't work, then maybe he gets hit by a bus or something. Story 10. A teenager in Vietnam is killed by a landmine, and his parents decide to donate his organs. One of the recipients of his organs learns about the donor just before they go to college. Years later, The recipient has completed the invention of technology that will quickly and effectively locate buried landmines. Story 11. Set in a post-apocalyptic wasteland, the story follows a woman who breaks into a warehouse searching for a teddy bear to cheer up her terminally ill little sister. As she searches, she encounters robot guard dogs that, upon detecting the intruder, help her find the correct row and shipping pallet where the box of teddy bears is stored. They then merge to form a large robot dog and ride back with her to her sister just in time for life-saving surgery to remove the little girl's tumor. The robot dogs stay with the girl as her loyal and loving pets, and everyone lives happily ever after. Story 12. A person who enjoys running loses his legs and receives robotic limbs. A cookie is allowed to exist in the world through an artificially created body. Someone trying to find fulfillment in a world without many worries over necessities eventually achieves it. Story 13:1. An episode where, due to the massive automation of the time, every individual has the ability to cheaply three-dimensional print anything they can dream of. People create an economy of free-flowing ideas and innovations where production and distribution are no longer issues, leading every common person to live like a billionaire. The advancements in biochemistry allow humans to produce crops that can be grown in every previously unsuitable location, solving world hunger immediately. With better nutrition, the world begins advancing quickly as more great minds flourish. Advancements in carbon structures create wearable fabrics with the strength of steel. Firearms are no longer reliably lethal, and extreme sports become practically free of terrible injury. Biologists unlock the secrets of hydras, allowing the end to aging. People become massively wise and intelligent with their unending lifespans, then venture into the cosmos to learn about the universe. Fusion energy, along with powerful batteries and better agricultural practices, makes all corners of the globe well-fed and without need for resources. War is gone, and humanity finds no further need for politics or government. Eventually, curiosity alone drives a now vibrant planet, and people begin to unlock the secrets of existence. Story 14. A man meets a woman while vacationing in a major city. She lives there, but he doesn't. He's leaving for his home on the other side of the country the next morning. They wander the streets of the busy city all night long, chatting constantly about their hopes and dreams. They watch the sunrise wrapped in each other's arms. When she takes him to the airport the next morning, she's clearly upset. She's never met anyone she gets along with so well. He offers to stay in touch with video calls, and they exchange usernames, but she isn't too hopeful about the situation. When she gets home from the airport and lets her computer wake from its sleep mode, she notices he's added her before ever even getting on the plane, only moments after she left him according to the timestamp. Later that night, when he's settled at home, he logs on to see her icon is online. He messages her instantly. Their playful banter and easy conversation flow long into the morning hours. Over time, their weekly video sessions become daily. They begin to show each other their home cities, taking their phones with them to talk anywhere they can. He walks her down a street festival where music and light pour from every stall. With headphones in, only he can hear what she has to say to him. She makes an hour-long drive to her parents' house, and he talks with her on the drive, keeping her entertained with car games and random trivia. She sends him a recipe she found online, and that night they make and eat the same meal on opposite sides of the country. They begin to look forward to seeing each other's icon light up every single night without fail. They even turn on a tracking app that helps them see how far the other has to go before they are home. They fall asleep while video chatting and wake to each other's sleeping form. But distance makes all things hard. Months pass. Both their data bills are through the roof. He begins to feel a lack of connection to her, the real her. She feels like all she knows of him is the face of her phone, as if the device and the person are one and the same. They miss one call, then another because he has to work, another because she fell asleep while waiting for him. One day, though they agreed to talk that night, he never even shows. The icon stays unlit, and though she tries to keep her mind steady, she feels the cold, hard stab of doubt in her chest. Was it something she said? Did? Is he with someone better for him? One that doesn't pester him every day? She checks the tracking app. Nothing. His isn't even turned on, sending another stab of doubt through her. Where could he be that he doesn't want her to know? Why is he hiding his movements? He never seemed like someone who'd do that. But did she ever really know him? Or just the online him? Another hour passes, and though she tries to keep occupied, she can't stop checking. Still nothing. In her frustration, she throws down her phone, and the screen shatters, the white light bleeding black from every crack into the screen. Angry, hot tears spring to her eyes as she watches the gray icon flicker away completely. Her doorbell rings, and as she swipes away her frustrated tears, she apologizes to the phone. Picking it up off the floor, she wipes away spare shards of screen glass, as if that will turn back the clock. She knows it can't hear. It's not a person, nor the thing she's angry about, but it did nothing wrong. With phone in hand, she walks to the door where there he stands. A duffel under one arm, too big to be an overnight bag. In the other, he has his phone out. "Why aren't you online?" he says. "I was going to surprise you, but my flight was late." She launches herself at him, into his arms, causing his phone to fall to the ground. No more devices between them. Story 15, Prime Minister. But how can I, mild-mannered and unremarkable career politician that I am, possibly ever live out my dreams of raw-dogging a swine before the 6 o'clock news? My tortured artist friend. Bro, hear me out. Story 16. Someone hacks robotic butterflies and uses social media to find random people doing good things, having the butterflies swarm them for a short time, surrounding them in beauty. Story 17. A child is abducted, and the police have no leads. Her friends from her World of Warcraft guild from all over the world pool their talents and resources to track her down. Story 18. Everyone uploads their brain into a system that allows us to experience each other's lives and then puts us back in our bodies. People see that they are all connected and start acting really sweet to each other. Story 19. Saru Brearley was an Indian boy who became separated from his family at age 5. He took a train with his brother, fell asleep, got separated, changed trains, fell asleep again, and wound up over 900 miles away from home. His brother was hit by a train and killed that night, and Saru wound up in an adoption agency. He was adopted by an Australian family. Eventually, he used Google Maps and his vague childhood memories to attempt to reconstruct where his original home was, and he was reunited with his family in 2012. They made a movie of his story called Lion. Story 20. I'm actually writing this short story. This sex robot realizes she is part of the problem when she comes to the realization that her best customer avoids social interaction and pursuing other sexual interests because he can rely on her. She decides she wants out, but the company that owns her will probably just reprogram her if she goes through the proper channels, and they are also tracking her for work and safety reasons. Hence, she conspires with a self-driving car to run away and get a new identity. Story 21. Oh boy, here we go. Medical bio-nanites have cured disease, that is, all diseases. They accidentally got into the environment and killed all microbes that invade human beings. As a result, nanites were made to replace the microbes our bodies cultivate, and now most health procedures involve a programmer and a tablet. World hunger is solved as genetically modified plants and animals produce food with less strain on the environment than ever before. A hero in the private sector obtains a new strain and plans to release it into the wild, evading corporate agents. The released species grows like a weed, and food is everywhere. Teleportation is achieved through manipulating the fabric of space to make any two locations adjacent. People walk from their living rooms to work, to friends in other countries, or to our colonies on Io. There's a lovely upscale restaurant on the peak of Everest. Driverless cars are ubiquitous, the system perfectly efficient. Humanity spends its downtime in transit, heading somewhere instead of sitting in one place while playing or working. A man has a heart attack in transit. His car notices and reroutes him to the nearest hospital, where he is saved by a heart surgeon who is also rerouted in transit. Bulletproof fabric is perfected and cheap enough to be worn by everyone. A crazed gunman tries to assassinate a famous speaker, but is thwarted when the crowd assembles on stage, blocking their faces with their arms. After the first few useless shots, he turns the gun on himself. but the barrel is blocked by an arriving police officer's gloved hand. A photographer with augmented reality glasses walks around a beautiful meadow, taking photos of nature as she switches filters on her view of the world. The view switches to watching her wander around an industrial area. The view in augmented reality is a perfect, three-dimensional recording of the area in its previous natural state. Humanity waits aboard a spaceship in a localized time-space bubble, watching the universe collapse in the final moments of blue shift. They watch to see what happens after. The long-range sensors let them see the first explosive moments of a new universe being born, just as ours was.